Hello, y'all, and welcome back. So Aristotle is looking at this final end we have in life. He says everyone's aiming at some final end. Everything you do is ultimately aimed at this end. What is it? And he concludes that it is happiness. Happiness. Everyone's aiming at being happy. Now, this might strike you. You might say that's pretty anticlimactic. I thought Aristotle was this great philosopher, and now he says the final end, the purpose of your life is to be happy. But this is the fault of the translation. The word that's translated happiness in most to all translations is the Greek word eudaimonia. Eudaimonia. And eudaimonia is substantially deeper than our concept of happiness. So Aristotle says everyone is aiming at eudaimonia, human flourishing, this deep, rich state of human life that's multifaceted and indeed very complex. And there are three ways that eudaimonia differs from happiness. So the first way is that eudaimonia is distinctly rational. So I think it's pretty obvious, pretty uncontroversial, that animals can be happy, right? This is just obvious. You come home, your dog's happy to see you, right? I think that small children who lack reason, as we've discussed, can be happy. Babies can be happy. Indeed, small children and babies can have quite the range of emotions. I don't even think it's inappropriate to say that plants are happy. I've got plants in my place, and they're green and flourishing and big and buoyant, and they seem like they're happy. They're doing well. I don't know that that's a wrong term to use of them, and likewise that a plant that's kind of dry and drooping and dropping its leaves is kind of sad, not doing too well. But the same is not true of eudaimonia. Eudaimonia as this state can only be possessed by beings that have and are actively using the faculty of reason. Again, the power of the mind to think logically, or as I defined it, the ability to ask and answer why questions. So your ability to answer, I'm doing this for this further purpose, which you see as good, that's centrally involving your reason, right? That's also tied to your capacity to experience and enjoy eudaimonia, this fixed state of human flourishing. So that's the first way that eudaimonia is different from happiness. The second way that eudaimonia is different from happiness is that happiness is subjective, eudaimonia is objective. This is pretty simple. You're the world's leading expert on how you're doing. If I say, hey, how you doing today? And you say, I'm doing great. I can't say, no, you're not. I'd be ridiculous, right? You know how you're doing better than anybody else. Why? Because you're the subject of those feelings. That's what makes it subjective, right? The subject is the world's leading expert on the correct answer here. Eudaimonia is not like that, though. Not only are you not the world's leading expert on how you're doing, on whether or not you're eudaimon, whether or not you have and are enjoying this state, but only a very good, wise person with a lot of experience of life is qualified to look at you and say, that person is living an objectively good human life. That person, in other words, enjoys eudaimonia. So a very good, wise, experienced, presumably older human being that really knows people well is a very good judge of character, is qualified to say this of you. So happiness is subjective. Eudaimonia, though, doesn't depend on you. It depends on, is not judged accurately, rather, by you. It does depend on how you're living. But it's not judged accurately by you. It's judged accurately by somebody that has this expertise in being a good person. Third, happiness comes and goes, but eudaimonia can only be assessed after a complete life. Again, pretty easy to illustrate this. You're not happy. Why not? Because you want ice cream and you don't have ice cream. Well, then you get an ice cream cone. Yay, you just gained happiness. Congratulations. Then a big kid comes and knocks it on the ground. You're sad now. You just lost your happiness, right? So you've just gained and lost happiness in this course of about 10 seconds. Happiness is really that fleeting and fickle. It's not to say that it's bad, that happiness is bad because it's fickle. That's just the nature of the beast. A lot of you point to your greatest moment in your life. It was some vacation you took with your family, or some music festival, or some time that you walked across the stage when you graduated. That was a moment in your life. That was great. It was your happiest moment. Guess what? It's gone now. But eudaimonia is not like that. Eudaimonia is cultivated over a complete life. And not only can you point to a single moment where somebody is eudaimon, where it's gained and lost, but Aristotle says you can't even judge that somebody has this quality until after they're dead. Why? Because only after you're dead is your legacy going to be secure. And if you sat down and had to write out a list of people whose legacies changed toward the end of their life, in the second half of their life, the last quarter of their life, or even possibly after they were dead, okay, it would be a pretty impressive list. People that seem like they have everything going for them, and they've got wealth, and they've got popularity, and they've got success, and they've got good looks, and they've got all the attention from people that they want, and everyone seems to like them, right? Something can happen or be revealed about them that totally changes the way that we see them. Bill Cosby is a good example of this, right? Who was the kind of model of middle American family wholesomeness, right? And now his legacy is completely changed. Lance Armstrong, when I was a teenager and in my 20s, Lance Armstrong endorsed just about every product under the sun. And we talked about how he was so good because his femur, his bone in his leg was longer than other people's bones, and he just worked harder, and he was this kind of tough, no-nonsense Texan, right? Well, now because of the doping, and also because of the particularly nasty way in which he went after people that suggested he was doping, we see him in a very different light. This has changed our perspective on him. And there's a number of other people, and there's a pretty long list of names that you could give here. So don't call somebody eudaimon. Don't say that they're happy in that sense of happy, flourishing, fixed, rational, virtuous life until their life is over. So the goal of our life, the purpose of our life, the one thing that we're all aiming at is eudaimonia. And Aristotle says this is a fixed state where you're using your reason, so you're thinking, in accordance with virtue, in accordance with these good character traits, over a completed life. That is the thing that everyone is shooting for. And Aristotle says, I can't tell you how to get that. I know that that's what you're after. I can't tell you how to get it. Everybody gets it in a somewhat different way. But he says, as I analyze human life from this perspective, this sort of 30,000-foot perspective that y'all took in the exercise for this module as well, he says, that's what I conclude. So that's Aristotle on virtue and the purpose of your life. I look forward to our next module where we discuss the Stoics. Thanks.